All right, so we're back for the final part of our deep dive into proactive safety. We've talked about, identifying those hidden hazards and then using that hierarchy of controls to mitigate the risks. But let's be real for a minute. Putting all this into practice, it can be kind of tricky.
Oh, absolutely. There are a lot of misconceptions about workplace safety out there that can really trip people up, even when, they have the best intentions.
Okay, so let's bust some myths then. What are some of those, most common misconceptions that you encounter?
Well, one of the big ones is this idea that no recent incidents means everything is safe. That kind of thinking, it can breed complacency, and that can be really dangerous.
Yeah, it's kind of like assuming that you'll never get in a car accident just because you haven't had one yet, right?
Exactly. The absence of incidents, it doesn't guarantee future safety. It might just mean you've been lucky, or maybe those hazards just haven't escalated into, full-blown incidents yet. Proactive safety, it's about being vigilant, not reactive.
So don't let a clean safety record lull you into, a false sense of security. What's another common misconception?
Another one I hear a lot is that risk assessment is just paperwork. People see it as a chore, not really a valuable tool.
So they're just going through the motions instead of really engaging with the process.
Yeah, exactly. But effective risk assessment, it's an active process, it's ongoing. It should really be about identifying those hazards, analyzing the risks, and then actually taking action to control them, not just creating a document that, sits on a shelf somewhere and collects dust.
It's about making your workplace safer, not just filling out forms. Okay, what about PPE? Any misconceptions there?
Oh, definitely. There's a tendency to think that, okay, if everyone is wearing their PPE, then we're good. But as we talked about earlier, PPE, it should be that last line of defense, not the primary solution.
Yeah, it's like a safety net, not the whole safety plan.
Right. You wouldn't rely solely on a helmet to protect you in a car crash, right? I mean, you need airbags, seat belts, a well-designed car.
Yeah.
Multiple layers of protection. And it's the same with workplace safety. PPE is important, but it needs to be used in conjunction with, those other higher level controls that we were talking about.
Okay, so what are some practical things that our listeners can do, starting today, to start implementing all these principles in their own workplaces?
Well, here's a really simple, but I think really powerful starting point. The next time that you're in your workplace, just take a few minutes to really look around with fresh eyes and ask yourself, what could go wrong here? Think about all the potential scenarios, not just the obvious ones.
That's great advice. It's really about shifting your perspective and becoming more aware of your surroundings.
Exactly. Yeah. And once you've identified, some potential hazards, then ask yourself, okay, what can I do to prevent this from actually happening? Think about that hierarchy of controls.
Yeah.
Can I eliminate this hazard completely? Can I substitute it with something safer? Could I implement some engineering controls or administrative controls?
So it's like a two-step process. Identify the hazard, then figure out how to control it.
Exactly. And remember, don't be afraid to involve your colleagues in this process. They often have some really valuable insights based on, their day-to-day experiences.
That's a great point. Safety, it's not just the responsibility of the safety manager or the CEO. It's everyone's responsibility.
Absolutely. Creating a truly safe workplace, it requires a collective effort. It's about building a culture where everyone feels empowered to, speak up about those hazards and contribute to the solutions.
Well said. So as we wrap up this deep dive, what's the key takeaway that you want to leave our listeners with today?
Well, I would say that proactive safety, it's a journey, not a destination. It requires that constant vigilance, a willingness to learn, and a real commitment to that continuous improvement. But the rewards, they're immeasurable. By embracing a proactive approach, we can create workplaces that are not only productive and efficient, but also safe and healthy for everyone.
And that's definitely a goal worth striving for. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive. We hope you've gained some valuable insights and some practical tips that you can use to make your workplace safer. Until next time, stay curious, stay engaged, and stay safe.